Hello beautiful butterflies. So long time no see. This video is very important and I think you all need to watch it all the way through so that you all can learn what I had to learn because it's important. So where have I been for like the last since, you know, before August or something like that? Well, Dave died, but he's not dead and he's not a walker. Don't worry, he's not a zombie. So I'm going to tell a little tale, kind of short, abridged version for you guys, because I couldn't bring myself to make any videos until I made this one, so that you guys knew you knew what happened and you knew how important it was to learn what I learned, and I just couldn't do any funny stuff without at least getting this out there. You guys know that Dave had a stroke about just over a year ago, around September a year ago. And found out that he had cardiomyopathy, which I will write here and you guys can look it up. And it's like basically one of your valves doesn't quite cooperate, and the heart and all that. He recovered from a stroke. It was okay. But he wasn't feeling well, and his heart was racing, which was odd because it was always on meds to make it go slower. So that was a little strange. So it was around midnight on August 12th to 13th midnight. He was like, I don't really feel very good. Can you like read me off these questions, see if I go to the hospital? And I'm thinking, oh, he looks fine. Like he just ate a cupcake. He's fine. Like he's fine. He was answering about 3 questions, and then it's like he started having a seizure. And I was like, what the hell? So he was sitting in front of his computer, and it's very narrow, and I held on to him like this. And you guys see he's bigger. And I held on to him so that he wouldn't hurt himself or fall forward or anything, because I thought he was having a seizure. So I called 911, obviously. We're about 10 minutes or so from our local hospital, but at the time of night it was like they were within 5 minutes. It was very, very fast. They were very good. Before they could get there, I had to talk to the guys, but I was also looking at him, and then he stopped breathing. Like legit, boom, done. He was stopped breathing, and I'm like, it's his heart, obviously. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, okay. And so, I have anxiety and issues too, but like you go into survival mode. So any of you guys out there that have issues and stuff, and you worry what if something happens to somebody, you don't even think. Your just brain is like, okay, this is what I gotta do. I knew I had to do CPR. I knew I had to do CPR. I'm like, okay, I know CPR. That's something I want you guys to learn. If you don't know it, I got taught in brownies, I got taught in swimming, I got taught a bunch of different times, okay? Like, it's important. I'll put links down below of where you can go. You can always go to your local like firehouse and stuff, and they will teach you. You can always find out. You can for free. He was stuck in a chair, and he weighs like at the time over 200 pounds, and I couldn't pull him out of the bed to do it. So I'm like, what do I do? And he said, should I pull him back and just knock him on the ground? And I'm like, okay. So I didn't want her to, but so I made sure I didn't hurt his head. But she's like, it doesn't matter, just do it. So I knocked him down, and I'm yelling for my mom. I'm like, oh. She finally came down, took the phone, because I was like, I can't, I put the chick on the thing, and I'm like, I'm giving him CPR, and I'm breathing, and he's not breathing, but every time I did breathe into him, like you're supposed to, you hold the nose, and you do this, like that, he made this, like, girly noise, but his eyes were open, like, I'm facing down, his head's like this, his eyes are here, so it's not really a good position, right? So his chest is like that, and Mom gets downstairs, she takes the phone, because I'm trying to do this, right? And now it's like, you don't need to breathe for this kind of CPR. It's the breathing part. You just got to pump the chest. So I had to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and like a tiny pause, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is hard. He's a big chested guy, right between like the man nipples, okay? And it's hard. And I was doing that, and then my anxiety started going, and I'm just all I can think about is just like, okay, and I'm doing that, and she's talking to them, and they're like a minute away. Like, so I did that for about 5 minutes, maybe. I couldn't breathe because my asthma was going nuts. So Mama Butterfly, who knows it, she took over, and she's strong, okay? I'm surprised she didn't break his ribs. I heard a crack, but it was my own finger that was like cracking, not his ribs. So she finished off about a minute of like really just like pounding on that boy's chest. So, but he still wasn't breathing. This is helping to prevent brain damage. They get here. We're told to get the fuck out of the room. And then we had to corral the dogs, and I'm freaking out, and they're asking me questions. They asked me if he was my dad, because he's like having a heart attack. I'm like, he's only 40. They're like, he's only 40. I'm like, just fucking fix him, right? There's about 6 guys. There's like specific guys who do specific things. Defibrillator guys, there are like actual guys, and a couple firefighters. You know, I'm freaking out trying to answer their questions, and I, you know, like, what's he allergic to, etc., etc., etc. I can't get his wallet because he, you know, they're all in the room. I can't get to anything. But I gave him all the information because I figure after almost 8 years, I freaking know it all, right? And I did. It's kind of a blur. I don't like to think about it. He doesn't mind me sharing this. I've asked him. His heart stopped. Legit. His heart had stopped. His lips were the same color as the rest of his face. It was very creepy. And I kept asking them, is he fine? Is he breathing again? 'Cause they flipped over the bed as if it were a stapler because they needed to move him, and they needed to get, you can't leave a place until you're stable enough to get pulled onto the ambulance, okay? And so he was not stable enough. And I'm like, is he breathing? Is he alive? And they're like, we're working on him still, working on him still. That's like a political answer, okay? Because he wasn't breathing. So they worked on him with the defibrillator, adrenaline shots. Like, the room was scattered with a bunch of medical stuff. So it was about an hour of them trying to get him stable enough to put in the ambulance to get him to the hospital. And they have the breathing thing, you know, it's a mask with like a ball in it. They're doing that. And so they finally got a heartbeat after that long, and they had like a little finger thing, so they had that, and he had them all strapped up. They got him out, and we went up to Langley, and we're sitting there watching them work on him, and he looks dead. Not because we can hear the beeping, but he is like, we don't know what's going on. They can't for sure say. Again, I had to explain everything to a doctor. I don't even know how many times I had to explain. They were transferring him, getting ready to transfer him to Royal Columbian Hospital here, which is like where you want to be if you're having a heart issue. About 20 minutes away. So by ambulance, they can put lights on way quicker. So they told us, don't, like, I'm like, let's go up to Royal. They're like, no, they're like, you know what, just give us like half an hour or so. We get everything set up there and then come up or whatever, a couple hours. And I'm like, don't want to do it. My mom's like, April, come on. Because I'm like, I'm just freaking out, and just, of course. We waited till that they went to take him. So I knew that he was on his way. And I'm like, okay, they've got him. I can't do anything else except for be like, by the time we got home, it was like maybe like close to 2, and Mom was trying to lay down a little bit because we were going to go up there. I went to lay down, and I might have been laying down for like 15 minutes, 20. I had music on. I couldn't sleep. I had the phone right there because I'm common law. We were common law, basically. You're like Mary, but you're not. So I'm emergency contact. All his family is in Montreal, so it's all on me, which is hard for someone with anxiety, but survival mode, right? So I get a phone call, which you don't really want. And it's from Royal Columbian, and he's in the ICU. And they didn't say it the way that it was basically should have said it, but they're like, we think he should come up now. I'm like, what's the matter? Like, we just think he should come, like, now. So to translate what that meant was, he's gonna die any minute now, so you might want to get up here. That's what that means, okay? We booked it, okay? We got up there fast. And we got into the ICU, and I mean, it's sterile. It is like top notch. It's like on TV. It's ridiculous. You think, oh, there's no way it's gonna look that good. Its ICU in Royal Columbian is impressive. So thank you, guys, at Royal Columbian. He's having something breathe for him. His heart had apparently, I didn't know this until later, stopped several more times between the time that I saw him at Royal and the time in the room here. Which, of course, I'm thinking, Jesus Bloody Mary, right? There was like 4 nurses and the doctor and the respiratory technician. He had about 9-10 bottles of whatever behind him, meds. He was in a induced coma with propofol, which was like the Michael Jackson drug, you know, the white thing that you used to sleep. So he was in an induced coma, and that was to make sure his brain wasn't damaged, okay? Plus, he had things hooked in everywhere, things breathing for him. It was like...
Any opening he had something in it.
He was like a voodoo doll. He was punctured. So, and I had to sign, okay, life-making decision papers because I was the only one that was like legally allowed to. And that's decisions that I don't want to have to make. But I didn't even read them. I was just like, okay, of course, right? I signed them all. And I'm like, God, if I have to make that decision, it's oh my God, right? I mean, I didn't have to. God. I'm holding his hand. He's where I can because he's so needles and intravenous. The doctor's looking everywhere. He's like this. He's like talking to me, but he's looking like around. And he basically, I'm just thinking to myself, just spit it out. Just tell me like he's gonna die like within like 5 minutes. Like I'm just, not to be mean, but I'm thinking just spit it out. Just say it, right? Basically just sitting there like, he explained a few things, and we're just sitting here, and I'm like, they're just waiting for him to die. As we're sitting there waiting for him to die, and every minute goes by, and the doctor is just not looking at me, he's not dying. I guess at some point, maybe 5 minutes into it, and he still was alive, and the doctor was looking at his vitals, which were like every vital. Like, it had vitals on like crazy. The doctor had just adjusted. I guess we're working, and he was happy. He's like, okay. So when the doctor left the room, I felt a little better. And okay, and he's got like cooling things on and stuff like that, just make sure everything's doing its thing, right? And it looks like insane. It's the scariest thing I'll ever see. I was there for, God, I didn't even know, hours and hours and hours and hours. They said he was better. Like, he wasn't gonna die just then. I had to go text his brother, his dad. His stepmom does live down here, but they're like separated, so, but she was awesome. She came in the morning. She's an RN, like she's an ex-RN, so she knows the score. Getting all the info because they had to call me, and there was no more calls of, you better come up here now. And then when I saw them and I asked them questions next time, they were like, he's doing okay. And I'm like, they're like, he's still in critical condition. Like, but I'm like, I'll take okay over like the last time where it was like, he's pretty much going to die. It was stabilizing. That was the longest 24 hours of my life. And just sat there, and I was talking to him and threatening him to, if he didn't wake up, that I was going to kill him, even though that's really, but like, if he could hear me, he would know that would be me, because that's what I would say. I got a hold of his family, and then of course I had to talk to his family, and it was just it's a lot of stuff. And if you think you can't handle something like that when you have issues like me, just like, your brain just does it. You can. Mom and Butterfly obviously really helped. Like, my family, of course, loved it. They were all support. His dad did fly in eventually. Then they were gonna wake him up, and they said that can take days, or because they'll put him right back to sleep if something's wrong. He was recovering like a rock star. The doctor said so. He woke up way faster. He woke up way faster than anyone does, and he didn't know where the hell he was. And that's not because of the propofol, so it made him sleep. That was because of the painkillers and stuff, so his body wouldn't feel, because he was seizing a lot. This guy takes a Gravol, which can kind of make you tired, and he'll be like, he does not handle it. I can take sleeping pills and be like, I'm fine. No. Dave, If he had like a warm cup of milk, he'd be like, ugh. He's just like, I gotta go pee. He's trying to and he's just attached to everything. He can't see behind him that there's like 1,000 things he's attached to. And I'm like, no. You have a catheter. Just go. I repeated 1,000 times where he was and all that, and he was out of it, but he was alive. Basically, yeah, did MRI on his chest because they couldn't do it after because they were putting a pacemaker in, and not just a pacemaker, a Cadillac of pacemakers. It's a pacemaker defibrillator, like triple combo, crazy, like $80,000 piece of machinery in the boy, right? After a couple days, he got to go from ICU to, and you're on a list, and I got to write the list. So no one got to go see him unless I put him on the list. I was like, I'm a bouncer of the ICU. What's up? So then he got to go to the cardiac area of the hospital, which he had been there before for a stroke, so he's like, he knew where he was going. I'm like, this is not good. Luckily, he can't remember any of it. He only remembers being awake on the second floor, which is like the cardiac kind of where they have the patients. So he doesn't remember any of it, which is really great. And even though he's asked, and I've told him everything I'm telling you guys basically, it's a blessing that he can't remember. I can't forget. And every time I even see the spot where he fell, where I had to knock him down and stuff, I wish I could forget it, but I can't. CPR did prevent brain damage. He has no brain damage, which is amazing. Except for, the usual. He's a guy.
You started CPR within a minute.
I started CPR as soon as he stopped breathing. Exactly as soon as he stopped breathing. So, CPR is very important, people. You need to know it. Learn it. It's actually very easy. Dave would probably be dead.
That's right.
Or he'd be like a vegetable.
Yeah.
So you really need to know it. And it's not just for drowning. It's for, like, you need to know it for heart attacks. He had a surgery, and then he got out, and, you think, hey, pacemaker with a defibrillator. So basically if his heart stopped, it would go bing, zap, you're awake again. Which made me feel better, but not better enough. Because all I'm thinking is like, oh, that's what's going to happen next.